The gas tank is an Aero 33 gallon. And as you can see, it's been bashed up pretty good, so it's got some departure angle issues. A 2 meter, 70 centimeter ham antenna, which tip over and stands up. This one here is a dedicated 2 meter, it's called APRS, which is for Amateur Packet Reporting System. And it uses a small mag mount GPS antenna. You stick it on your roll bar, and it allows anyone that goes to the aprs.fi website to see where you are when this is activated in real time. Your elevation, your heading, your speed, average speed, and location all superimposed on Google Maps. When we're out in the backcountry, it's handy to have your loved ones able to type into that website and see where you are and what you're doing. A rear shaft is better than a front shaft because it's pushing rather than pulling. HillsAngels4x4.com. This is a Sandon AC compressor. The intake for the compressor comes off of the back side of the air filter, so it's upstream from the filter. It goes into a manifold, which then monitors the pressure, has a mechanical pressure switch set for 130 pounds, and this then from here leads to the back of the Jeep, where there is a 5-gallon commercial grade off of 18-wheeler truck tank underneath. From that tank forward, I can control the manual front ARB, the rear ARB, independent of each other, and also on each front and rear bumper I have quick connects, so I can access the onboard air system for running tools, impact wrenches, a blender for margaritas. This switch here is designed to isolate the winch from the power system, and so it's a 350 amp switch, which is on the hot side, not the negative side, but the hot side of the lead between the winch and the battery. Next switch is a auxiliary power control, which then powers the auxiliary fuse block, and the auxiliary fuse block powers the ham radio, the stereo. All the auxiliary systems are controlled here, so if there's ever an emergency, instead of hunting for the right fuse, you give it a twist and it kills all the auxiliary system. Dual batteries, the red top for starting only, and then the yellow top, which is for powering all of the auxiliary systems as a deep cycle. And the switch to control, this switch that controls whether we have the power on or off, the solenoid is powered with the auxiliary battery, so even if the primary battery fails, it'll shut off and we'll always have juice to start the motor to go home. This is a Premier Power Welder control box. This control box is designed to allow arc welding with the electrodes, which will plug in here, that has the welding leads to go to the work. This is powered by a high frequency alternator designed to create enough energy allowing weld just above idle. It also allows you can charge batteries, or here I put a plug in to keep the dirt out. There's a 120 volt power source. It's not an inverter, but it allows you to run brush driven accessories that require 120 volt. From Harold Off, the Navajo brake booster, which allows a larger diaphragm for better stopping power, especially because we're running now the full-size truck axles underneath. Piece of round stock, and welded that to both sides of the head of the disconnect pin. So when you're on the trail with gloves on, or you're in adverse conditions, you just reach in and it gives you leverage to pull the pin out. Otherwise, if not, people tend to want to grab and twist using the clip, and they break immediately. Then you have to go hunt up a vice grip or another tool to fix it. Warrior product shackle reverse, but since we went with the full-size axle, we had to outboard the springs. Cut and widened, and then these are then gusseted. Same thing in the back with the rear spring perch. It's overkill, but sometimes I like overkill engineering. These are axle U-bolts that I cut down, designed to keep the leaf spring from separating and spreading apart on the trail. So they're not tight, they're just loose, they ride in there and just float, and it keeps the lateral stability of the leaf springs in order, and they're just friction tight. sometimes you can just loosen them up with your thumb. They're loose like that. It's not designed to clamp the leaf spring. It's just designed to keep them in order. This is the counter torque measure from the CJ steering box over to the passenger frame wall, which has been beefed and gusseted, and then the frame has been drilled and sleeved to take the load off of the frame itself. Previously, it just kept sandwiching and pinching and closing the frame walls closer together, like a chin guard, catcher's mask. Our diff cover now is completely protected with a cage. So if you back into a rock inadvertently, it'll be protected. Stock shafts, nothing fancy, and it works like a charm. Many of the rear bumper mounted utility carriers only swing one direction, and oftentimes one will find themselves in a situation where you're on a hillside that it's hard to open it against gravity. So we engineered this to operate. You can pull these two pins and the utility carrier will swing out this way, or if you want, pull the pins on the other side and it swings out the other direction, or pull all 4 pins and the whole rack comes off. That's just angle iron bolted to the tub. Nothing fancy, but it works, and it's a good pivot point.
So what do you think of that Arb refrigerator?
Plugs in right there. Oh, that's full of dirt. I think the Arb is a fabulous product. I've had one for 10 years, and I would never leave home without it on a trail anywhere. You can keep your drinks cold. You don't have a muddy mess at the bottom of the cooler. This is the Tuffy security drawer. Keeps all the spare parts. And I built, this is designed to sit flat on the deck, so tubular stocked as a riser and rose it up, and then using the existing factory bolt holes for the CJ in the back, we've added these brackets. So I used to carry, instead of this big Tuffy box, I used to have ammo cans full of all this stuff. This Jeep was originally white, but the tailgate came from J&W, which was red, so. 5-gallon air tank from an 18-wheeler tractor trailer rig. Mounting flanges line up perfectly on the frame rails of a CJ, and it already has the 1/4-inch NPT ports for the drain, the in and the out, and this is what serves as my volume for the onboard air system. So it comes from the sandin through the manifold up front. Everything goes directly to the tank, and then from the tank it goes either to the step down system for the lockers or to the full power front or rear quick connects. This is the Ford F250, F350 shock towers, available from the Ford dealer for about 20 bucks a piece, and it allows us to outboard the shocks because of the wider axle. It gives more horizontal stability for road manners, and it gives good shock rebound on the trail. These are Rancho 9000s, front and rear.